Hey, Jonathan here at TopSaw. I teach high school woodshop and do tree work on the weekends. Today I was going to go over my top 10 beginning woodshop projects that I do at the high school woodshop. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas. There will be links to a lot of them down below for full videos on how to. So stay tuned and I'll go over my top 10 beginning woodshop projects. Okay, project number one would have to be a cutting board, 3/4 inch, starting with 13/16. Students have a little bit of room to design what they want. I buy some of the hardwoods from Auburn Hardwoods, and then a lot of it are offcuts that I get as well, and then a lot of the pieces are we mill. So we learn a lot about wood properties, how to surface 6 sides. So surfacing 6 sides would be planing top and bottom, joining one edge, ripping parallel for the 4th, cross-cutting perpendicular for 5th and 6th. So here's an example cutting board. Here's another cutting board with corner radiuses, router bit, and a hole drilled in there. So project number one, without a doubt, would be a cutting board. And if you want more information on that cutting board, you can see the link below. Okay, project number two. So project number two is a spoon, a wood spoon. You use a bandsaw to cut that out, and then carving gouges to cut out the hole, and then a lot of sanding. So this is really more of an introduction into hand tools, how to sharpen chisels, and how to use hand tools. Kind of the key on this one is really symmetry and not going crazy and going too deep. Project number three, which is in that same category of carving and hand tools, is just a little coin dish like that. This is a piece of Doug fir, just kind of carved out with a gouge and then sanded. So that's project number three. Project number four is a set of coasters. This is a nice project because if you screw your cutting board up, you could always make them into coasters. So these are just usually offcuts, or you can make your own. The key on the coasters themselves is that they're all identical, and additionally that they're all perfectly square. I don't mind any kind of design you want. And then the holder is introduction into using a dado blade set for cutting those rabbets and usually cutting them on a bevel. So that's a new skill on those coasters. This is a good project as well because it really uses potentially scrap. I mean, if somebody screws up their cutting board, they're able to, we'll use it later for coasters. Kind of a key thing in a high school wood shop. And maybe also when you're starting woodworking is to learn how to minimize your material use and maximize the skills you're learning. So I think coasters are number four. Number five is this keyhole key slot shelf. So piece of hardwood, I have a dado cut in there, and then the shelf fits in there, a radius on the bandsaw, and then these things right here, these cut grooves are just table saw, cut on a bevel, and it's a non-through cut. Kind of the point of this shelf is that you mount it on the front of your door. When you come in, it's a key holder, and then you can put your phone on top. So it's kind of a key holder. Pretty simple project, really nice. I really work on spacing these equally, learning how to do non-through cuts, cutting dados, bandsaw roundover, sanding, and then a router detail on the edge. So that's a nice project as well. That was number five. And then now we're getting into more complex putting parts together. So this is project number 6. It's a candy dispenser. You take this jam jar off, fill it up with M&Ms. Usually I don't tell them. Oops, almost been on the shelf, a little dusty. And then it slides in, and then your candy comes out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces here. This is a good project. I have a video in the description if you want to see how to build this one. Also, kind of a big idea in woodworking is really keeping your pieces identical and staying symmetrical. You know, what sort of tolerances you want here. There's a few good moving pieces in this, a few levels of complexity, but like all good woodshop projects, it's easy to fix if you go wrong. One thing, downside of this one project is that your pieces are pretty small to work with, so the key is to work with long pieces and cut off shorter pieces. Okay, so that's 6. And then now we're learning how to put stuff together. So number 7 is a corner shelf. It does have, let's see, it does have a rabbet joint there, kind of dusty from the shelf. A little bit of bandsaw work, working on symmetry, and then the corner shelves go in. So this is a good project for just your first kind of assembly of 4 parts. I think that's project number 7. Here's project number 8, a step stool. This is a good project, a few pieces to it. The thing that's hard on this one on layout is cutting these bevels right here on the miter. So you can see these legs bevel outwards, right? So there's a bevel there, and then these are mitered cuts on there. So this is a nice project, bandsaw, ripping, taper sled for cutting these angles. So it's a good project. I think that was number 8. So I think this corner shelf was 7. The little step stool was number 8. Number 9 is a jewelry box. So rabbet construction in there. And I think rabbet base in there. So the base is rabbeted, and then the top as well is cut rabbets around, so it just fits together. You know, you could do a little inlay detail around the top if you want to get a little trickier. I have corner splines, kind of depending on how it goes. And then this does have a CNC router on the top, or you could even do a hand carving pattern on there. So this is project number 9. And then project number 10 is really one of my favorite projects. It's a fly fishing net, cutting thin strips. This is surprisingly easy. And then when soaking them, we soak them in a PVC tube. And then these nets the students buy. This net's a great thing because you don't have to sew it on. It just zips around your frame. So that's project number 10. It's a ton of projects, I know that. But I thought I'll just give you an overview of 10 really good beginning wood projects. I certainly don't get to all 10 of them in a semester in the high school. I also taught woodshop at the community college, and no way would I get to these 10 projects. But if you can work your way through these 10 projects, you'll acquire a pretty good set of skills. It kind of covers all the tools in a traditional wood shop. And I'll make a separate video of my top 10 wood CNC projects for high school or community college. So you can see those as well. Love to hear your comments down below in the comment section. And I'll try and put links to videos on how all of these are built. And yeah, this is Jonathan at TopSaw. I hope you enjoyed the video. Signing out. Actually, before I sign out, let me just reiterate. Safety is really number 1. If you don't know how to use a tool, don't use it. Make sure you take classes to learn how to use those tools safely. Problem with all those cutters is mistakes in a wood shop are usually pretty catastrophic. It's not just a cut, it's usually a finger. So if you don't know what you're doing, take a class. They're offered at night schools and community colleges all over, and make sure you're safety first. All right, thank you for watching.